Hi guys, welcome to this module on Microsoft Access. In this module, we're going to look at creating relationships between tables. First of all, let's have a quick look at the tables in this database. We have three tables: consultants, which is just details, names and addresses; project, which is a list of projects; and sponsor, which is a list of sponsors. Now, in each of these tables, if I go into design on consultants, there is a primary key. In this case, it's the consultant ID field. That is the primary key, a unique identifier. In the projects table, if I go into that one, right click, design, the project ID is the primary key. That means unique identifier. But notice there is a field, consultant ID field, which is there, which is the field that I'm going to use to link these two tables together. And then also, while I've got this open, there's a sponsor ID field, which is the field that I'm going to use to link these two tables together. Close that one down. Just have a quick look at sponsor ID so you can see that one in design mode. Sponsor ID is the primary key. Now, to link these together, we need to go into database tools and click on relationship. Once this window is open, you can either drag tables into this window, or you can click on show table and add or double click. So I'll just do those two for now. Just going to move them around. Now, when I personally look at databases, I come into this window and have a look, and I like to see it nice and tidy so I can see the links, how people have done it. I'm not looking to see a spider's web, which sometimes you do see. The bigger the database, though, sometimes that is the only way you can do it. So you can see there the primary keys are indicated, and so is this field there. So I've got the consultant ID, which is the primary key for consultants, and I've got the consultant ID field in the project table, which is also called the foreign key, and that is the link I want to make. So before you even get to this stage, when you are doing table design, you have to sort of think about how you're going to link these tables together as you build this database up, and it is not a quick job. You have to put some time to it. But once you've done that, you simply do this. You click on the consultant ID there, and you drag it across and drop it on top of the other consultant ID, and then this window opens up where it tells you there table consultants, consultant ID, table project, consultant ID, and then you have these tick boxes at the bottom there and a few options there, join tab, which I'll talk about shortly. I'm going to tick this option which says enforced referential integrity, which basically means that I cannot, in this example, create a consultant in this project table. So if I create a new project, I couldn't create a consultant ID that didn't already exist in that table. It would stop me doing that. If I didn't have that ticked, it would allow me to do that. I would be able to create orphan records, a consultant ID that doesn't exist, which would make no sense. Now, the other thing I need to make sure when I do these joins, which I'll just break this one in a minute, is that this is a one-to-many link. So in my example, one consultant can work on many projects. So if I just cancel that and try and make this go wrong for a second, so there's a photo. If I put a photo to a date field, it comes up with indeterminate. You need to stop right there if you get that sort of link coming up, because that's going to be basically giving you rubbish. So pull that back across. Happy with that. I want this on. Now whether they have these two ticked is up to you, but basically cascade updated related fields or delete fields. It depends the type of database you have. For example, you wouldn't want sales records deleted if you deleted a salesperson, so that would not want, you wouldn't want that ticked. So it's totally dependent on you. I'm just going to click create so you can see the result, and you get the 1 to infinity symbol, which is what I want. Then I save that link, so I'll just click on save, and then I'm going to close this window for a second. Now when I create a query design, double click on consultants, double click on project, close this. Now you can see the link comes through into the query by example window. Now although you can create this link in a query, I think it's better practice to do it in your table database tools at the table level, and then whenever you use these two tables, they will always have that link. So for example, now if I double click first name, not twice, and surname, and from that table, and then project and location from that table. So now you can see it's coming from different tables: table consultant, table project. If I run that query, you get a list of names and the projects that those people are on. Now this type of query is only showing you the people that are actually working on a project. So basically where the consultant ID field is equal in both tables. If I go back into design, and if I change what's called the join type, if I double click on this thin line, I'll come into this join properties box. You have three options there. This is the one that's selected at the moment, only include rows where the join fields are equal. If I tick 2, now it's going to show me all records from consultants, but only those from project where the join fields are equal. So if I click OK to that one, you see the arrow points a different way. This is called an outer joint. If I run that, now you can see all the consultants, and you can see these two guys at the bottom haven't been allocated to a project. So that would give you an option to add that to a query as a lookup, always showing you the people that are available. Now if I do it the other way, if I go back into design and double click and click on number 3, so this one is going to show me all the records in projects, but only those that are equal in consultants. If I click OK, the arrow goes the other way. So this is when I run this. Now it's showing me that this top project hasn't got anybody allocated to it. So you put one and one together and you grab one of the people that was available and allocate them to this project. So that's how you change the join type at query level. I'm just going to put that back to 1. Okay. You could have done that at database tool level as well. I could have set that to be a permanent join in this relationship window, because it was an option there, join type, the same box comes up, but I've left it to do it at the query level. Now if I save this query for a minute, just click on save. I'll just leave it as query 1 for now, and then close it. Now if I go back to the database tools, I can add a third table, sponsor, and again position that where I want it to be. So a sponsor can sponsor many projects. So the same process, sponsor ID to sponsor ID. Make sure it says one to many. Tick enforce referential integrity, and then create. Now if you get to this stage and you tick enforced referential integrity and it says that it can't do it because there are orphan records already, that means you've already got a sponsor ID in this table that doesn't exist. What you should really do is go through this table and just check and remove that orphan record, because having this on is a very, very good feature. Now if I just show you what it would look like, it still lets you do the link, but it doesn't give you the 1 to infinity line. That is, in my view, bad practice. So I would always want that on, and then click OK. It would stop me creating orphan records in this table. So save that link, close this window, back to query 1, open it in design. Now I can add that third table, sponsor, just drag it in, and it picks up the link straight away. And then I could maybe just double click on sponsor name. So I've got 3 tables here. So these are all showing me the data that's equal in each table. If I run that, so Stephen Saxton's doing that project, and it's in Algolia, and it's sponsored by this company, and so on and so on. Now I am going to close that down, and I am going to save that. In fact, let me be a bit more, let's rename that and give it a proper name. So I'll call that query consultants projects. And then I'm going to create a report on that, and I'm going to use the wizard to show you how this would work at report level. Report wizard. So there's the query. I'm going to take all the fields across, like so. The grouping, let's have a look at that. So I've got different options there. I'm going to leave it on first name, surname. Grouping, let's go by project, group by project. And then next, leave that as it is. Next, I'm going to select landscape, next, and give it a name. So it's an RPT. It's looking at table, consultants, projects. It's going to look at the query of that actually, so I'll change that. It's query consultants project. So I like to look at it like that, so I know it's a query that's looking at that query. And then if I just go finish there, it should create that for me. And there you go. That's basically using joins to get your end product, which in this case is a report. And as all reports, if I close that, close it again, that report is looking at that query, which is driven by the information in these tables. So that's the end of this little session on linking tables. I hope you've enjoyed that, and thank you for your time.